tonight, from downtown Indianapolis, the Indiana Fever welcomed the Seattle Storm in a matchup that looked like just another regular season game on the calendar. But by the time the final buzzer sounded, this night had transformed into something unforgettable. It wasn't just a win. It wasn't even just dominance. It was a statement, a declaration, and maybe even a glimpse of the future of women's basketball. The Fever didn't just win. They rewrote their own record book 6 different times in one night. They did it with their superstar Caitlin Clark sitting on the sidelines, and they did it when the stakes were at their absolute highest. This wasn't just basketball. It was resilience, toughness, and history all wrapped into one. So how did it happen? How did a shorthanded Fever roster rise from survival mode to the most complete performance in years? And what does it mean for Clark, for Indiana, and for the WNBA? This is the story of the night the Fever made history. On the surface, this game shouldn't have carried so much weight. Late August, the regular season winding down, the calendar marked it as just another matchup, but the standings told a far different story. Indiana was hanging by a thread, clinging to playoff hope with a margin so thin it could disappear with a single misstep. Every possession, every basket, every turnover carried the potential to tip the scales. The Fever entered the court weathered, battered, tested. Weeks of inconsistency had left their mark, and now injuries had decimated the roster. Caitlin Clark, their superstar and the pulse of the team, was sidelined for the 16th straight game with a stubborn groin injury. Sophie Cunningham, Chloe Beebe, Sydney Colson, Ari McDonald, all out. 5 players in street clothes, watching, hoping, knowing the team needed them to rise above. Coach Stephanie White faced the room, the weight of expectation in her eyes. She didn't sugarcoat the stakes. "This has to feel like May basketball, not August," she said. "Every moment, every play, make it intentional. This is your season on the line." And in that locker room, something clicked. The energy wasn't desperation, it was focus. The Fever didn't need heroes to carry them. They needed every player to bring her best self to the floor, to fight for every rebound, make every shot count, guard every inch of space. It wasn't about one star. It was about collective will, heart, and the refusal to surrender. In those tense minutes before tip-off, the message was clear. Greatness isn't given, it's earned, together. But long before the first whistle blew, something extraordinary was already unfolding inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse. This was no ordinary pre-game ritual. Tonight, the arena had become a stage dedicated to Caitlin Clark, even though she wouldn't be lacing up her sneakers. Nike had chosen this night to unveil her signature logo, the double CC, and it dominated every corner of the building. The emblem glowed across giant LED screens outside, stretched across banners hanging from the rafters, and was emblazoned on thousands of white t-shirts handed to fans at the entrances. In an instant, the crowd embraced it, slipping on the shirts like a uniform of unity. The arena transformed into a single, breathing organism, a sea of white, pulsing with anticipation, with every chant and cheer echoing Clark's name. It wasn't just a logo. It was a symbol of transcendence, of influence, of connection. Caitlin Clark had outgrown the notion of being just a rookie phenom. She had become the heartbeat of a city, the thread weaving together fans, teammates, and a community that hung on her every move, even when she wasn't on the court. The irony was unmistakable. The player absent from the game had somehow become the center of the night's energy. Gainbridge Fieldhouse was no longer just an arena. In that moment, it had become Caitlin Clark Arena, a temple to talent, to inspiration, and to the power of belief. When the game finally tipped off, the Fever wasted no time announcing their presence. Odyssey Sims, her bright pink shoes a blur on the polished hardwood, leapt for the opening tip and came down with it, instantly converting into a fast break layup that sent a shockwave through the crowd. The arena erupted. Moments later, Kelsey Mitchell stepped into the corner, launched a 3, and the ball swished through the net with a satisfying snap. But this wasn't just another bucket. This was history in motion. With that shot, Mitchell claimed the all-time single-season scoring record in Fever history, surpassing the mark set by Caitlin Clark just last season. Every point, every fan's cheer, every heartbeat in Gainbridge Fieldhouse seemed to swell together, acknowledging the significance of the moment. The crowd didn't just cheer, they roared. It wasn't just excitement, it was awe, it was reverence. It was the realization that they were witnessing something extraordinary. The game had barely begun, but the Fever had already signaled. Tonight, records would fall, and history would be written. But the night's brilliance didn't come without its shocks. Just minutes into the first quarter, the arena's electric energy was abruptly replaced by a collective gasp. Lexi Hull and Gabby Williams collided violently, heads colliding with a sickening thud as both lunged for a loose ball. The sound echoed like a warning through Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Hull stumbled, a swelling knot already rising across her forehead. The crowd fell silent, the air thick with tension. With so many key players already sidelined, the thought of losing Hull felt like a dagger to the team's heart. The celebration, the momentum, the energy, it all froze in that instant. Yet, less than 10 minutes later, Hull returned to the court, bandaged, bruised, but unbroken. Every step she took radiated defiance. Every glance sent a message. Pain would not define her. The fans erupted, a wave of cheers crashing across the stands, and her teammates mirrored that energy, feeding off her fearless return. Later, Aaliyah Boston would sum it up with perfect clarity. Lexi Hull is the definition of tough. And in that toughness, the Fever discovered a rallying point, a spark that ignited their resilience. In that moment, it wasn't just basketball. It was courage on display, a testament to the heart and grit that would carry Indiana through the trials of the night. From that moment on, Indiana took control, suffocating Seattle with relentless intensity. Aaliyah Boston dominated the paint. Like a force of nature, every touch calculated, every move deliberate. She wasn't just scoring, she was sending a message that the Fever would not be intimidated, that they would dictate the rhythm of this game. Boston finished with 27 points on 10 for 18 shooting, each basket a display of power, precision, and unyielding determination. On the perimeter, Kelsey Mitchell and Odyssey Sims orchestrated a symphony of movement and scoring. Mitchell sliced through defenders, making impossible cuts and attacking seams in Seattle's defense, leaving even seasoned veterans scrambling to keep up. Sims, steady and electric, added 22 points herself, including a highlight moment that sent the crowd into delirium. A contested bank shot from nearly 35 feet, seemingly defying physics. A reminder that this Fever team could conjure magic when the stakes were highest. But it wasn't about one player. It was about the collective. Boston, Mitchell, and Sims formed a three-headed monster, each one complementing the other, each one contributing to a performance that was both precise and explosive. Their synergy turned offense into artistry, defense into domination, and every possession into a statement. By halftime, the scoreboard reflected the story of the court. 50-39, a lead that felt like control, momentum, and inevitability all rolled into one. And unlike fleeting hot streaks of the past, this performance carried the weight of consistency. The Fever scored at least 21 points in every quarter, never trailing, never hesitating, never allowing Seattle a moment to breathe. The Storm were outmatched, outworked, and overwhelmed. Indiana wasn't just winning a game. They were asserting a new identity, a team that thrived under pressure, that turned adversity into opportunity, and that proved in every play that they were capable of greatness, even in the absence of their superstar. By the end of the night, the scoreboard told part of the story, 95-75, a 20-point blowout. Indiana had dominated Seattle, but the numbers alone couldn't capture the full magnitude of what had happened. The real story was in the milestones, the history that had been made, and the sense that something extraordinary was unfolding before the eyes of everyone in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. 6 different records fell in a single night, 6 markers of a team stepping into its own. First, Kelsey Mitchell. Her shot from the corner wasn't just 3 points, it was a declaration. She surpassed Caitlin Clark's franchise single-season scoring record, a mark set just last year. In that moment, Mitchell transformed from a prolific scorer to a franchise legend, proving that her determination could match, and even exceed, the legacy of the team's superstar. She didn't stop there either. With her 20-point games, piling up, she now led the league, showing a consistency and excellence few could match. Second, Aaliyah Boston etched her name into the annals of WNBA history, reaching 1,000 career rebounds. Only Tina Charles had done it faster, and Boston was not finished. Third, Boston also became the second fastest player ever to reach 1,000 rebounds and 350 assists, joining only Candace Parker in that rarefied company. Every rebound, every assist, a testament to her versatility and relentless work ethic. Fourth, Odyssey Sims carved her place alongside the greats as the second fastest Fever player to reach 50 points and 25 assists, trailing only Caitlin Clark. Her presence on the court was a masterclass in balance, leadership, and poise under pressure. Fifth, Boston, Mitchell, and Sims each scored more than 20 points in under 30 minutes, a feat so rare it has only happened 6 times in WNBA history. It was the ultimate demonstration of depth, firepower, and efficiency. And sixth, the standings themselves shifted, from 8th to 6th. Playoff hopes no longer hung by a thread. They were alive, vibrant, and within reach. 1 game, 6 records, a single night. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement, a message, and a glimpse of what this Fever team could become. A team that refused to be defined by absence, injury, or expectation. But records alone don't tell the story. What truly defined this night was resilience. The kind of grit that can't be measured in points or rebounds, the kind that defines a team's soul. Lexi Hull's return after a brutal collision was the first spark. Bruised, bandaged, and staggering, she stepped back onto the court and instantly shifted the energy. Every dribble, every defensive stance, every contested shot was a statement. Pain wouldn't stop her, and nothing would stop this team. Aaliyah Boston dominated the paint with unwavering intensity, refusing to be contained even when defenders keyed on her every move. Each rebound, each inside finish, was a testament to her determination, her drive, and her refusal to let circumstances dictate the outcome. Odyssey Sims brought the kind of energy that can't be faked. With Clark sidelined, she became the heartbeat of the Fever, orchestrating offense, driving the pace, and igniting the crowd with fearless creativity. And then there was Kelsey Mitchell, steady and unflinching under the pressure of history. Every shot she made carried the weight of legacy. Every drive and cut an assertion that Indiana was capable of more than just survival. This wasn't just about surviving without Clark. It was about thriving in her absence, about showing the world, and themselves, that the Fever's identity isn't tied to a single superstar. In doing so, the team discovered what every great squad eventually learns. Greatness isn't about one player. It's about identity. It's about toughness. It's about belief. It's about stepping onto the floor and saying, together, we are more than the sum of our parts. Still, there was no denying the question that hung over everything. What happens when Caitlin Clark comes back? She's been out since June 15th. 16 straight games missed, 25 games this season, and every single one of them felt like an eternity for fans, teammates, and coaches alike. Each contest without her was a reminder of what they had lost, but also of what they were capable of discovering on their own. Her return isn't just another lineup adjustment. It isn't. Merely one more weapon added to the arsenal. Clark's comeback has the potential to tilt the playoff race, to reshape the trajectory of the franchise, to breathe new life into a team already rediscovering its identity. It is the difference between surviving and contending. Coach Stephanie White has been clear. Caitlin won't simply be thrown back into games cold. She must prove it first. Prove it in practice, prove that she can handle the physicality and relentless pace of 94 feet of full-court basketball, prove that her endurance and timing are back at elite levels. Because the Fever don't just want her back. They want her back ready, not merely to play, but to lead, to elevate everyone around her, to transform potential into results. Every dribble, every cut, every pass in practice becomes a test. Every heartbeat in the arena becomes a countdown. The clock is ticking, the playoffs are looming, and the Fever are building momentum with or without her. Yet when Clark steps back onto that court, the question will no longer be hypothetical. It will become reality, and the league will watch, breathless, to see how high this team can soar. And with 6 games left in the season, every single possession matters. Imagine it. Mitchell slicing inside, fearless, weaving through defenders, as if the court itself bends for her. Every drive a statement, every layup a declaration. Indiana isn't here to survive. Boston dominating the paint, a force of nature. Every rebound a battle won, every post move an assertion of strength. She's a pillar, unyielding, carrying the team's heartbeat with each thunderous step. Sims pushing the tempo, eyes sharp, movements precise. She's orchestrating the offense, creating chaos for opponents, daring them to keep up. Every fast break, every pass, every pull-up jumper is a spark, lighting up Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Hull guarding the perimeter, fearless. Every contested shot and every chase-down block a message. This team will not be intimidated. Not by size, not by experience, not by circumstance. And then, Clark. Caitlin Clark, stretching the floor with her limitless range, her vision transforming space into opportunity. Her presence alone forces defenses to shift, opens lanes, and sets the stage for everyone else to shine. Even off the court, the thought of her return electrifies the arena, reminding everyone of what is possible when all pieces fall into place. This isn't just a playoff team. This is a contender, a team capable of breaking expectations, of rewriting what people think they know about Indiana basketball. Defenses won't be able to cover it all. Boston will find easier looks inside. Mitchell will cut through like a blade through silk. Sims will orchestrate with unmatched rhythm. Hull will disrupt passing lanes, and shooters will finally have the open space they've fought for all season. And the emotion, the electricity in the air, is undeniable. Fans will rise, players will fight, and the Fever's identity, forged in adversity, will shine brighter than ever. If a team can break 6 records in one night without its superstar, then what is the true ceiling once Clark returns? The answer is exhilarating. The answer is history in the making. On this night in Indianapolis, the Fever didn't just win a game. They found their identity. They proved their depth. They showed their toughness. And they gave the WNBA a glimpse of what might be the league's next dynasty. Because this wasn't just about a 20-point win over Seattle. It was about a roster learning that even without their superstar, they can dominate. And now, with Clark's return on the horizon, the Fever's story feels like it's only just beginning. So when history looks back on the 2025 season, maybe this night will stand out as the turning point. The night the Fever weren't just fired up, they became unstoppable. If you're fired up, comment "fired up for the Fever." Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter in this incredible story. Because history is already being written, and the Fever are only getting started.